Well, the one thing that I thought that I would share is how I got my job and just how God really changed the whole trajectory of our lives. Um, and I always think of, a pastor always says, God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. And that is completely what he did for me. It's kind of a long one though, so I don't know, we'll see. I think it goes back to 2020, COVID just hit. And at that time I was working in mental and behavioral health. And it was a good job. I wouldn't say I loved the job. I'm that person, I've had every kind of job, pretty much. My mom, she always thought I was gonna be a teacher. But being the strong-willed kid that I am still, I had to do everything else first before I could give into that. So I was working in mental health. We had just closed on our house, and I was very pregnant with Henry. And let's see, COVID was happening, and things started to shut down, but being in mental health, we were still open and I was still working. And Ken and I were at a place in our lives where we were just starting to get back to walking with Jesus and getting back to where we're supposed to be. We kind of both strayed for a long time, and we're trying to do things our way, trying to be our own people and not follow what God had planned for us. So as I was working here at this mental health clinic, I was starting to feel like, I don't think this is where I'm supposed to be. The kinds of clients we were seeing and the work that I was doing, it just didn't feel right. And I knew it wasn't where I was supposed to be. So I had Henry, and I was on maternity leave. I got to have about almost 5 months of maternity leave, which was pretty awesome. But then it was time for me to go back to work. And when I came back to work, 90% of the clients that I was seeing and that I was working with were getting ready for gender reassignment surgery. And that's what they were coming here for, their pre-counseling. And that just kind of solidified it for me. I was like, this is absolutely not where I'm supposed to be. This is not for me. So I started looking for another job. And almost immediately, I got another job. And this felt like the job. There was travel involved. I got the big office with my name on the door and business cards and the best salary I'd ever had at that time. And it felt good. And I was excited, and it was awesome. And right about that same time, we started going to church here. And, our first time here, we all got baptized together as a family. And so that was exciting too. And I was finally feeling like we were getting on track with this plan that God had laid out for us. And I was excited, and I wanted to talk about it. And so I was trying to talk about it at work, and I was getting shut down. Nobody wanted to hear about it. They weren't about it. And what started off as something really exciting and felt really good, all that glitters is not gold, I was quickly realizing that this was also maybe not where I was supposed to be. And then they came out with a vaccine, which, if that is something that you believe in, that's amazing. But to force it on somebody and to say, you have to have this or you're going to lose your job, that definitely didn't sit right with me. And so that's where we were at this company. Everybody had to get the vaccine. You would lose your job. And it was getting to this point where I was having panic attacks on my way into work, and I was so stressed out, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And going back a little bit, there's been a few times in my life where I realize now that it's God talking to me. But when I'm spiraling out of control, or I'm feeling really anxious and full of anxiety about something, God sends me an eagle. And not just like an eagle soaring up in the sky, looking all majestic as they do, but it's an eagle like right in front of your face where you don't normally see an eagle standing in the road. I've seen an eagle just standing in the street in front of me when I'm spiraling out of control, or up on a telephone pole. Again, these places you don't normally see eagles. They're up high. They perch, they build their nests in the tallest trees they can find. And so for this eagle to just be here in my path, it's kind of like, okay, I need to stop. I need to calm down. This is my sign that I'm not in control. Something else bigger is happening. It's true, and I think there's probably been like 6, maybe 7 times that's happened to me, that this eagle I'm like, you do not belong here. I don't know what you're doing here, but okay. It really does. Uh-huh. Yeah, and it's fine. Every once in a while I'll text Ken, I'll be like, saw an eagle. And he goes, yeah, you do that. Yep. And so one morning I'm on my way to work at this company that I thought was this perfect job and that I thought was gonna change my life and be amazing. I'm driving to work and I'm starting to have that panic attack and I'm getting anxious and I'm just feeling like I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I was listening to the radio and Child of Love by We the Kingdom comes on. And I just blast that song, and it's a beautiful sunny morning, and I'm driving down kind of in the Fife area by the business Costco, and crossing over the bridge, and I can see the mountain, and it's just gorgeous, and this eagle flies right in front of my car. And I just let it all out and just let it go. Okay, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. So I went into work, and while I was at work, my phone went off, and it was a notification from Indeed, the job place that the company that helps you find jobs. I hadn't got a notification from Indeed in months because I had been at this job. I wasn't looking anymore. I was trying to settle in, and I look at it and I thought, that's kind of weird. And it said that Cascade Christian Early Learning Center was hiring preschool teachers, and I thought, maybe I'll see what happens there. I'll apply for it and let's see what happens. I applied, and the next day they called me and they wanted to schedule an interview. And I said, okay. So also right before the interview, I actually ended up getting COVID. And so the day before my interview, I was really sick with COVID, and I called them and I said, I'm sorry, I have COVID, I don't think I can come in for my interview tomorrow. And I said, that's okay, are you up for a Zoom interview? We just want to get to know you better. And I said, oh, sure, yeah, I can do a Zoom interview, that's fine. And so I got all set up and I did my interview, and they opened the interview with prayer. And these 2 ladies that I had never met before, who only knew me from my resume that I had sent in just a couple days before, they were sitting there praying for me, praying for healing for me, and just for this whole interview process and everything. And I just thought, wow, that's amazing. So we had the little interview and disconnected from Zoom, and I just felt peace. And it just felt good. And about half hour later, they called me and offered me the job. And I had to think about it for a little bit because it was definitely not the same amount of money I was making at this current job. But then they told me, James was getting ready to go to preschool. And so they told me that he can come to preschool there. Henry, when they had an opening in the toddler room, he would be able to go there. So my boys could go to work with me every day. I could see them every day. I could be a part of what they were learning. I would know their teachers. I would know exactly what they were learning. So I prayed about it for a little bit, and I thought about it, and I decided, I think this is a door that God's opening for me. So I quit my job, and as soon as I was better, I started working at Cascade, and it was just, it really changed our lives. And then as I started working there for a little while, I got to work in lots of different classes. toddlers, preschool, infants, all kinds of things. And it just sort of started stirring these things in me from long, long ago when my mom told me, I know you're going to be a teacher one day. And I know I come from a family of teachers. And it was finally just kind of like, okay, yes, I need to go back down this path, and I need to finish my education degree, and I need to do this. And so I went back to school, and still in school, but I'm getting closer to being done. And doors just keep opening for me at Cascade, and it's just like every day there's a confirmation that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And so I started at the preschool, and then I got my own class at the preschool, and then I got to train new teachers coming in, and then I got to move to the elementary school and work in kindergarten when James was going to kindergarten. And now there's been, in this new school year, I get to work in the resource department, which I've learned is where my heart truly lies, being able to work with those kids who struggle the most and who need the most help, and just need that person to come beside them and help them through it. So now I get to do that and pretty much develop the program the way I want it to be. And it's just been amazing. All these doors just keep opening and opening. And it's just, God completely changed our whole lives. And now both boys get to go to school there. I get to be a part of their education every day. I know exactly what they're learning, who's teaching it, and it's just been such a huge blessing. And it's one of those jobs I never have any anxiety over it at all. I'm so excited every day to go to work. And if I'm sick or the kids are sick and I can't be at work, that stresses me out, because I want to be there and I want to be a part of everything that's going on there. So that's one of the biggest things that God has really done in my life most recently, is putting us on that path.